Hi, my name is Christian Ruiz. This is my presentation for the project for this course. My idea is to create a system or application to control orchid balance with the loans that we commonly do with our friends. Okay, so that's basically my idea. So to do that, I designed this database which have 12 tables as requested. With these tables, I'm going to explain how this will work. Okay, so we have a main table that is named users. Where in this table we are going to record all the users that are going to access to the system. Okay, with the basic information, the names, phone, email, and I add a separate table for the address. Okay, which has a secondary table with city and another table with country. The idea with this is to maybe create a query later to get all the records from a country or from a city. Imagine trying to get how many bodies we have in a country or in a city, or how is your debt or your balance distribute in the world. Maybe you can do that with this design. Okay, one important field in this design is the PIN number. The idea is with a PIN number you can add bodies. Okay, and for that we have this table, which is the body relation table, where each user can add bodies. Okay, so imagine that I access to the system. That will be my user ID. Okay, this user ID, and then I can add bodies to my application. These bodies will be added using the PIN number. Okay, so these body relations will keep all the relations we have in the real world. Okay, so to make a transaction, which is the other important table here, I need to use not only the user ID, because remember that when a user logging to a system, this user ID will be used to query all the tables. Okay, because that is the session. So, but to use the transaction, I need to use a body relation. So if I make a transaction, if I make if I pay for a movie for one of my bodies, so I need to add that in this table. Okay, which have the description of the activity, the date, the amount, the relations, or where is the body, and I add a category, so I can classify this expense or these steps or this loan, because remember that you are record the loans you made and the money you borrow. Okay, in other words, what you owe to other people. Okay, so in this body relation table, I also add a trust table, which is a table to indicate what is the level of trust I have to one body. You can edit that if you have any issue with a body, so you can classify that in another trust level. Okay, as I said before, category is to classify where this transaction is classified. And if you see down here, I have a table to manage all the image that are related to that to this transaction. Okay. Before ending this design, I was using only a field to put here in this table an image, but I realized that maybe you need to upload different image. Maybe there are different, I don't know, you buy something, you paid it for the ticket for the movie, but you also pay for any grocery, so sorry, for any candy or soda. So to make that as a simple transaction, you can, add that, put the total amount on the transaction, but you can also add the image for each one of those recipes. So that's why this this table is a table has a type table. If you see, it's a like link table maybe. So down here you have the image table, which have of course an ID for the image and the path of the image. And why the path? Because if you use this if you make this system in with environment, the common use is to upload this image to the server. So you need only to update or to get the path for that image. So when you are programming the application, you can say, or you can write a code to open the image with that, using that path. Okay, so that's the idea. Of course, trying also to ease the server work. Okay, and let the system manage the location of the image. Okay, so what else? Okay, I also add a feature of messaging, so you can send a message to one of your body. Okay, so let me show you the interface that I create. It's very raw interface, but I think we can do a good work with this interface. Okay, so the first thing, I create my account and I fill all my data, personal data, and here is the PIN number. As you can see, you have right here the PIN number that I was talking about. Okay, so this PIN number is key because if I want to add a body, I need to pass. I need to enter this PIN number. Okay, so for that, the body should give you that PIN number. Okay. You have right here a button to display another form where you can add the address. Okay, and of course you can select the city. Remember that the address is have another table to include city and another to include the country. But we are going to see the country in another slide. Okay, so of course this is the field to update the password, which need to be more secure. So that is why it's separate, because it needs some logic. Okay, to hide the password or to generate the password. So next you have the interface to all the bodies. Okay, as you can see here, this is all mock-up data, but that is the idea. These are all my bodies. Okay, so I can, you can see this. I have the PIN number, the phone, the emails, and I have a balance, which is calculated. And I'm going to show that later. So right here with this button, I can set the trust level for each one of these bodies. Okay. So if I want to add a body, I need to enter here the PIN, and I will include the body, and that is all. That will be all for that process. Okay. So the next screen, the next slide is the transaction screen. In this interface, you will see the first one is like the list of the transactions I have, where I can edit or delete any of those. Okay. And I can add a new transaction with this button right here, which display this this form. Okay. In this form, I can select a body, okay, from the previous slide, remember? Okay. So I will have here the bodies to add a transaction. I have a field to the description, to the amount, another combo box to enter the category, remember? So if this is maybe I loan money to someone to go to movie, so I can do that, or transportation. I can create any category. Okay. So descriptions, amount, and this is the button that I was talking about, where you can upload the image, all the image you want for that specific transaction. Okay. So that will be all. Okay. So if I go to the next slide, you will see this will be the typical, this one here will be the typical interface to add entries to the support table. What are the support table? Country, trust, category, that's our support table because they have the same structure, an ID, and a description. So I'm going to use the same interface for that. And for the city, it's a little bit different because you need to add the city. Of course, it has an ID, but you also need to pick a country. And with this combo box, you will be able to add or to select that country and later add that city. Okay. So for all the rest of the table, I can use this simple interface, this for cities, and this for sending a message. As you can see, this one, you need to select a body, okay, from this combo box which displays a list of your bodies, and you can write, of course, okay. And here you can enter the message, and you can send the message, okay. These are the interface. I try to keep it simple. At the end, the idea is to have or to be able to have a dashboard when you can see your where you can see your balance, who owes you more, or to whom you owe more money. So that's the basic idea with the interface. So let's review. Let me go to the server, the MySQL client. Let me open my queries. Okay, with the RTE the diagram we discussed earlier, with forward engineering, I create this script to create the database. So I think I don't have the database right here. So let's create that. Let me just click on that. And as you can see, the database is being created. So right now, if I refresh this, I have the buddyloan database, okay? And I have my tables. Nice. Okay, it's working. Now I go into the buddyloan CRUD, okay? This all the CRUD operation. I'm going to show you first how to insert all the values that we are going to use with our users cases. After that, our use cases. After that, I'm going to show you the rest of the CRUD operation. So let's populate the first table. Okay, so I'm going to do this quickly. You can see right here that everything is going to populate at the bottom of the screen. So I like to do this manually to just to check if everything is working. I can run, or I can configure this to run all at once, but just to check that everything is okay. So 12 will be the last. Okay, I forgot to comment that the log table I create on the design is to keep a record of what I am doing, what is doing the user in the system. So if I add something, okay, if I modify a register, or if I insert a record, so the log table, we keep that in mind. So if you see here, I have a table, the log ID, which is a simple ID to the table, the date with a current timestamp to track the change, a table name where I did the change or the operation, which operation I did. In this case, I use E for input or for insert, sorry, U for update, U for update, and D for delete. Okay, and here I add the user ID to track who do this change, okay, or who did this change, and of course the record affected. Okay, so with that, if I go back here, you can see that every insert is working. Okay. Okay. Here we are with the use cases. Okay, again, I use this buddyloan to be sure that we are in the right database. So what is the total credit per user? If I run this, I will have all the credit we have per user. Okay, you can see car has $60 in credit and Chris has $30 in credit. And if I go here again, but in this time, what is the total debt per user? Well, I have that car has a debt of $30 and Chris has a debt of $60. Okay. So what are the credits and debts per user? So this is another way to see this. Okay. So it's easier here. We have both columns, credit and debt per user, but we are still missing the balance. So if I run this, I will have the balance per user. Okay, but you know, this is a little not confusing, but maybe I can put that in the same row, all these three queries. So for that, I need to use a view just to make this simpler. I can do that with subqueries, but I think a view is better suited here. So I create this view to get all the total credits on that per user. So if I run this, the view is great. Let me create this for the same, but for bodies, the user and bodies. I will explain that later. So if I go back here and run this query, which console what are the credits, debt, and balance per user, I will have all the information in one simple query. And also, this is better because I also have the other relation, the other body added, and this body has no transactions. Okay. So for that, I am using a view. Okay, so For this system, I need to update the balance per each relation we have for each body I have. Okay, so that's the idea. I need to add the relation for each body. So let me show you. Remember that you are in a system. You are into the system with your user. So imagine you are the user one. So you need to take that balance for each body for a user using a view. Okay. It will run this query after a transaction. So the idea is that when I do a transaction with a body, so I can run this query, or the system can run this query to date the balance for that relationship. Okay. So if I go here, remember that we have a view where I put that. Let me show you. You see, we have this column here. This column will be the column that we are going to take. Okay, so we need to run that individually per user, because remember that we are in a session. Okay, so I'm going to do this. Let me run this for each user. Imagine the user 1 or user 2 or user 3 are logging one at a time. So the system should run this every time that transaction is made. Okay. So now we can have a list of the body with level of trust and balance per user. So if I run this here, okay, if you see, let me run this first. Okay, I am logging to the system as the user 1. Okay, so the user 1 has these two bodies, Chris and Anna, and the level of trust is excellent for Chris and is regular for Anna, and you have the balance, current balance, which with each of these bodies. Okay, so the user 1 has a balance with Chris, $20. With Anna, there is no transaction, so that's why it's 0. So if I log into as user 2, I run this again. So I can see that I am user 2, Chris, and I can see that I owe money to car. Okay, $20. That's why it's negative. Okay, so that's the idea of this query, which is the balance per category for a given user. So where I loan money or where I use the money I owe. So let me see. Okay, for user 1, okay, remember that this is hard code here, but in a system, this will be a parameter with the user ID session. Okay, so I can see that for my categories, I loan money for movies, I loan money for meal, okay, and I have a debt of $30 in shop. So I can check that. I can use that query to check what is the classification of my transactions. Okay, not only what I loaned, also what I owe to people. Okay. Okay. So I also create a log. Let me run this. This is only sample data. Okay. The idea, as I said before, is that every operation that is made with the application can generate a record for any of those operations here. Okay, who do the change? Okay, which is the date with the hour. This is the timestamp. In which table, which operation was. It was an insert, an update, or a delete, which row was affected. Okay, so this is an administrative report for DBA maybe. Okay, so that are my use cases. Okay, so back to the CRUD operation. After I create and show you all the cases that I made, we have the other operations that are needed to use the database system. Okay, so first, in every one of these instructions, you have first for the database the table address, selecting what we have. Okay, we have an update operation here. Okay, I can take that. This will add a building one to the address for the address ID number 1. If I go back here, you can see that the building is added to the address 2 field. Okay, and if I want to delete a record, I can do that. Okay, if I go back and query, the record is gone. We only have 2 before we have 3. The same for every one of these tables. Okay. The design of the database respect the constraints we have with the foreign keys. So if you see, this is made in order, so we can delete that. The system should assure that you cannot delete data, a record used in a related table. Okay, so let me show you an example of that. I have an example here. So if I want to, let me, moment please. Okay. If I try to delete this transaction, an error is going to occur because, okay, you can see here is the error because you cannot delete a parent row, a foreign key constraint fails. That's right, because remember that to delete a transaction, we need to respect the constraint. So transaction is related with image. Okay, so if I added an image to one transaction, to that transaction, remember that that is in another table. Okay, so when I try to delete the transaction and this transaction is used in this another table, then an error will occur. Okay, and that's right. That's the idea. That's the way to protect the consistency of the information of the data. Okay, so all these operations runs. Remember that we hard code this number to demonstrate, but in a system you will use a parameter for that. So you can delete this using what you select graphically. You can if you go to the UE, if you want to delete, let me go here to transaction. If I want to delete this transaction here with mark, I click on delete, and this will execute this query right here. Okay, that's it. But to delete this, the system will validate the database, will ensure that you cannot delete this record if it's used in another table. Okay. So, of course, when you design the system, you also need to be sure that everything is consistent. Okay. So you have that saved with the database design. So the rest of the queries is all the select, update, and delete operation for all the tables. So I hope my design, my project is good enough. This is a personal project that I want to develop. In fact, if you can see here, I already start with that. I think it's a good project, and I think it's also a good design of the database. So if you have any question, I will be happy to answer by email. For that, I'm going to say thank you for the opportunity, and thank you for this class. I learned a lot, and I hope to keep learning. Bye. Thank you.